Hey guys, so about a week ago I published a video called Show Me My Purpose or Let Me Die, something like that. And it was really amazing. I got tremendous feedback from that and a lot of confused feedback. So I wanted to make this video to clear that video up and to go deeper on that topic. First of all, if you're one of these confused people, don't worry. I'm not trying to kill myself, which is why I made a disclaimer in that video exactly for that reason. And if you thought that, or if you sent me biblical quotes or advice, then you missed the point of the entire video, and I do recommend you go back and watch it. I'm nowhere in my life in a confused place. I've never been in a place more clear and more on my purpose and more in alignment with what I actually want to do in my life. The point of that video was to share with you my process of how I actually have that come about in my life. See, in my life, I've never really had that problem of like, what's my purpose? What do I do? It just comes very naturally to me. And it's always been the case in my life. I'm always doing something that makes me feel alive, taking bold leaps of faith and using courage as the greatest leverage. And for that reason, things in my life are usually very much in alignment in the area of like what I'm doing, my purpose, how I'm fulfilling my duty here on this planet. But there's always a higher and higher echelon of doing that. And that was the whole point of that video, because for me it's at a point of like taking it to the next level. And so it was really funny getting the feedback from that video, because a lot of people and this is my perception, have a very immature relationship with death. So as soon as you mention death, they're like, oh my god, he's in trouble. And what I want to submit to you is that no matter what it is that you're doing, you're already dying for it. Like right now, every single moment, you're on your way to your deathbed. And so wherever it is that you're putting your attention, you're already willing to die for that. If that's doom scrolling through Facebook today, you're dying for that. If that's wasting your time in front of Netflix, you're dying for that. So if you're going to die for something, it might as well be conscious, and it might as well be your highest purpose, and it might as well be your highest. And here's where I want to go deeper on it, because, and trust me, I've learned this the hard way. Life always rewards integrity and being yourself, your authentic self. And it punishes laziness, and it punishes being out of integrity. Not because life is cruel, it's just how nature works. And let me tell you what I mean by that. Why does life actually reward integrity? It's because it's nature. It's its nature. Like if you look at a river, for example, and it's flowing down in gravity, the water's just following the path of least resistance. Imagine if the water coming to a waterfall was like, no, I can't jump off the cliff. It's going to be scary. I'm just going to vortex around here. It would be insane, right? Same thing like with a butterfly. Imagine a butterfly coming out of its freaking caterpillar metamorphosis process, sitting there on the leaf going, I don't know, maybe I should go back to being a caterpillar. It's just too scary. I shouldn't flap my wings, right? It's just not going to work. It's out of alignment with nature. The butterfly does what it does. The water does what it does. For some reason, some weird reason, us, human beings, in the present evolutionary state that we are in, have the capacity to go against our true nature, to go against our authentic selves, and do something that just feels completely devoid of life and aliveness and ourselves. And this is why you suffer. This is why it's hard to make things work. This is why your business isn't working out. This is why life isn't working out. Because you're doing something that's actually not you. You're doing something that's not in alignment with yourself. You're being someone who you're not. The moment that you actually step into your authentic self, start to be who you are, your energy shifts and everything comes into alignment. And every single day, every single moment, every single month, every single year of your life, as you are already consciously or unconsciously choosing to die for something, you always have two choices. To follow your highest excitement, your highest aliveness, to follow something that is actually in integrity, in connectedness with yourself, or not, or choose the other choice. And here's the thing. It's a tricky thing because it's always a test in a certain way, and life will test you, especially right now during these times on the planet where it's imperative that we wake up and imperative that you actually choose yourself and your authentic purpose. As these energies of transformation are becoming more and more intense, this test comes stronger and stronger, and life will keep knocking on your door. And the way these tests show up is with these choices. Like, okay, you've been thinking of starting this business or freaking ending this relationship for a long time that's draining your life, or starting that business that feels super alive and expansive to you. Are you going to do it, or are you going to do it not? And the thing with these tests is that it's like this. You can either learn from love or you can learn from pain. And most of my life, I've learned from pain. And the way these tests come, this is so important to notice, is that the higher choice, that choice that is in the highest integrity with your divine self, it will always look like fear. If you go through that door, you will actually learn from love, and I'll come back to that. But the other choice, the easier choice, will always look like a shortcut. And it will seem like it's saving you pain, and it doesn't, because it always equals short-term gain, long-term pain, short-term benefit and pleasure, long-term suffering for you and likely a lot of other people. So it might feel right to be like, oh, I'm just going to save for retirement for the next 10 years and then I'm going to go do that thing that I love. But of course, life doesn't work that way, because even if you do waste away 10 years of your life in this thing that you don't even want to do, I'm assuming you're in a job you don't like in this example, by the time you get there, you'll be old and shriveled and robbed of your vitality, and the only thing you'll be able to really do is save up for your coffin and for death, as such is the case. And so it looked like a good idea, but, it actually wasn't. It may seem like a good idea to stay in that relationship out of comfort because, eventually you'll go camping together and it'll be fun. But by the time you actually do go camping, you'll hate yourself and the other person so much that the years you spent investing in that weren't worth it, right? It may seem like putting off that decision to start the business because you got to save up more money and, then you'll be ready. Seems like a safe choice, and it may be, but in the long term, you waste your life away doing something that you're not passionate about, and you don't really learn about yourself. And the thing about that choice is it always looks like a shortcut, right? Oh yeah, the retirement. Oh yeah, stay in the thing. Oh yeah, I'll put off time so that I can be safe. But in the end, you're still dying for that, and there are no shortcuts. There are no fucking shortcuts in life, because ultimately you're cutting yourself short and you're not actually being yourself. You're not being who you really are. You're trying to fit into something that you're not, and this is why things don't work. This is why I have that prayer of like, okay, God, today, let me be in my fullest, highest alignment, or let me die, because that's what I'm calling for today. I'm dying anyway, so if I'm doing it, why not as well pray for it consciously? The thing with the other choice, the highest choice, thing that feels like expansive, true, alive, is it always masquerades as great fear, unknown, the uncertain, I don't know what's going to happen there. That feels completely new. And your body will always, usually, I would say in the beginning, kind of gravitate to the other thing because it feels safe. Because this new expansive thing is unfamiliar. Even though it might be better for me, even though it feels expansive, even though it's in line with my soul, even though it's freaking mind-blowing what I see on the other side of that portal, it's unfamiliar. So might as well go back to the guilt, might as well go back to the pain, to the shame, to this feeling small, to the feeling familiar, because at least it's familiar, right? We will do that. Life will test you constantly, throwing these choices and these opportunities your way until you have enough of the familiar and the pain that it gives you and the sense of smallness, and you're curious enough to venture beyond that crevice and actually dare to see what would happen if I take the leap into that. And it always feels uncertain, always feels unknown. And there's always usually a sense of like, if I actually make this choice, I might lose something. Really interesting, really peculiar. Because the mind, the ego, can only imagine what it's losing. It cannot imagine what's on the other side of the unknown. And that's why it's awesome. when you actually do make that choice, there's no guarantee of what's going to be there on the other side. And because there's no guarantee, that's what's awesome about it, because your ego can't actually freaking manipulate that environment. Everything on the other side, it's like in the safe realm, safe heaven of the egoic manipulator tendencies in all of us. Okay, I can control life a little bit, but here I cannot. And when you actually do make that choice, you end up learning from love. Then you're actually learning from faith. Then you're actually learning from your own soul. You followed that impulse. You stood in the highest, your highest, and life, in one way or another, rewards you greatly. You'll learn that you're actually supported by forces beyond your understanding. Now, what I've learned, kind of what I want to wrap this up, is that the higher you go in your evolution, the more difficult these tests are to spot, because sometimes they're subtle. Will you choose your animalistic, fear-based nature, or will you trust in the divine? Will you trust in your highest purpose, that what you feel in your heart is enough? Very often in life, we're like holding a freaking handful of aces, but because you think the world doesn't see it or the universe doesn't recognize it, you're like, oh, well, let me cheat a little bit and, throw an extra ace in here, just maybe nobody will notice because I don't feel I'm enough. That's how you end up doing really stupid shit. That's something I've been learning from personal life experience. That you are enough. You do have the aces in your hand, that when you do play that hand, everything will work out for you in your favor. But if you pretend you don't, it's going to get messy. So you might as well just get real with yourself and be authentic and pursue your passions and do the thing that you actually really want to do. So, yeah, for those of you who thought I was going to kill myself, or that I was lost in some way, that's where I'm coming from. Hope that clears it up. If you enjoyed watching this video, if it moves something inside of you, then I highly recommend you check out the presentation down below this video. It's called Your Energy is Everything. It's a video presentation I made for you, especially if you're feeling the calling to turn your vision into reality, if you have some incredible transmission you want to give to the planet, if you have a medicine in your heart, but you struggle with putting that out there on the internet, with actually being your authentic self and being in integrity with who you really are. Check out that video down below. It's going to assist you greatly on your path, whether you're trying to start a business with sharing the medicine in your heart, or turning a vision into reality, or just finally getting everything in your life in order that you think should be in order by now, but for whatever reason it's just not coming together. Check that video out. And like I said, you're already dying for it, so you might as well pray for it consciously. Thanks for watching. Subscribe down below if you want more. Check out the link I mentioned before. It's a good one. See you in the next one.